Alright, guys, today we got my take on something in the DM community. It's not really a debate, it's more so an option on which one to play. We all know what Ref does, especially if you play when Anaconda was banned. If you didn't, Ref essentially hard play Red Eyes Fusion. It will now mill your copies of Dark Magician to the grave, and where the fuck is he? Your copy of Red Eyes Black Dragon, which will in turn summon your copy of Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. Very basic. The biggest downside to Ref is you cannot summon the turn you do this. So you hard play it, you get your goon, that's it. So if you're playing a lot of floodgates in DM, maybe playing this with the Insight package isn't bad. Now the Insight package is very basic, right? There's not a whole lot to it. Activate Red Eye's Insight. Use Red Eye's Insight's effect, which will now send your copy of Red Eye's Wyvern to the grave, and then search your copy of Red Eye's Fusion. So you can search it, but we can't really search it in Archetype of Dark Magician. And Branded Fusion has the same issues. Right? We can't search it in DM. So from here, you would obviously, play your ref, which would send your copies of Dark Magician to the grave, as well as your copies of Red Eyes Black Dragon. And obviously summon Dragoon. In the TCG, you have to send Red Eyes Black Dragon. I don't care what your emulator says. You have to send Red Eyes Black Dragon off Red Eyes Fusion. You have to. So you can't send Timaeus. You can't send Levianeer, for whatever fucking reason you send Levianeer. It has to be the vanilla Red Eyes Black Dragon. Anyway, let's move on to Branded Fusion now. One more ref interaction I forgot to do. If you play Invoked Dark Magician, which I've showcased on the channel before, one of Ref's most unique interactions actually involves Alistair. So if we're going the most optimal way to get to Alistair, you activate Meltdown. Meltdown will search your copy of Alistair. And from here, you hard play Ref. This stops him from Solemn Striking or negating the activation of your Ref. They can still Ash it. That's also the only thing Red Eyes Fusion loses to is Ash Blossom. They can't Gamma called by you. It doesn't matter because it doesn't care about the location or where they're sent. So Ref is pretty strong in that regard. So, you're going to mill your bricks to the grave, being your copy of Dark Magician and your copy of Red Eyes Black Dragon, and summon your Dragoon. Now, Mural, I thought you said you couldn't summon. You can't. But what you can do is set. And the reason why set Alice are so good, if we read it, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or grave and target one fusion monster you control, and it gains 1000 attack and defense, which you obviously can't do to Dragoon because he can't be targeted unless you have him under skill drain. But until the end of this turn, actually it's part of the same effect, if this card is normal summoned or flipped face up, you can add one invocation from your deck to your hand. So if they attack into your set Alistair, right, so say we do that, we flip it, it goes to grave, right, because I swung into it. We now get to search your copy of Invocation during your opponent's turn. So then, on your turn, if this is the only card in your hand, based off what's in grave, you could summon Kaliga. Maybe if they outed your Dragoon, right? Dragoon's in grave, you can now summon Agodes, which I don't have any invoked monsters in my extra deck right now. Kind of just threw this stuff in for the purpose of the video. But you can get to Agodes and pop one of your opponent's monsters. It's a lot better in Invoked DM, I would say, than still trying to play Dragoon Turbo with Ref, unless you're playing the Insight package. Which if you are, that's cool. I don't personally like playing it, because I feel like I'm just playing Red Eyes at that point. But anyway, let's move on to some Branded Fusion interactions. Alright, Branded Fusion. Which, Branded DM right now, along with Mystic Mine, is probably the most competitive version of DM to play. I might be wrong about that. That, or, you set 5 and pass, like in Team Sam's build, he's playing a lot of Floodgates. But my issue with that is that deck does nothing going second, and you really have to win the die roll. But if you don't know how Branded Fusion works, which I don't know how you want, and it's been a somewhat meta-relevant card lately, if you activate Branded Fusion, declare the effect of Branded Fusion, which will send your copy of Fallen to Albaz, which is a better pick for Red Eyes because he's like super poly you can respond to. And Albaz, send Dark Magician. Go to your extra deck, summon Lebellion. Lebellion automatically activates on summon. He requires a discard, so Branded Fusion is not a 1-card Dragoon, because you have to have the discard. If anything, it's a 1.5-card Dragoon. So here you would discard Soul Servant. Then you would add back your copy of Dark Magician and your copy of, copy of Fallen Albaz to the top of the deck. And then summon your copy of Dragoon or Dragon Knight. It's not as bad, and we have to require a discard. That, or the other interaction, which I prefer to do, which I'll show really quickly, you have to open with souls. Alright, the interaction that involves souls. You would use your effect of Magician Souls, send for cost, DM to the grave. It doesn't really matter if you summon souls or DM here. If you have a lot of dead spells in your hand, obviously you want to summon souls to get some draws, which I'll do here for shits and giggles. And activate your copy of Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion will now send your copies of Albaz to the grave. And where is she? I know she's in here. Your copy of Mana, which will summon Albion. Albion effect on summon will fusion summon. Banish your copy of Dark Magician and your copy of Fauna Albaz, which will now summon your copy of Dragoon. You don't get a discard that way. And another reason I really like this is if we have Soul Servant, we leave a brick in the grave to get a draw. Now, there is a better interaction involving this to get you a draw 2 and DM and Mirror Jade. Or Dragoon and Mirror Jade, not DM and Mirror Jade. Which is also pretty good, but if you don't have Rod, which if you're playing a heavier branded package for Lubers, you won't always have Rod. So it's hit or miss. If you're doing Branded Fusion off 2 cards, which you have to for just Lebellion to summon Dragoon, I prefer to go this route. You might be wondering, well, Mural, why? You banish your Dark Magician. Well, assuming this is the board you end on, you couldn't do anything else, right? And they break it. They swing into Dragoon and kill him, or pop it from some other way. They pop Soul and destroy Albion and put him in grave. In the end phase, Albion will activate, which will now search you your copy of Branded Fusion. So you have a recursion for next turn automatically. Which means, if you have a discard in your hand for next turn, you can activate your copy of Branded Fusion, mill your copies of Dark Magician, and your copy of Fallen Albaz, summon Lebellion. Lebellion automatically activates, so if we have a discard, let's say for shits and giggles we do, we now get to shuffle, because he can shuffle from banish these 2 back into the deck. So you get to recycle your Albaz and DM from banish if you do it that way, but optimally, this is the better route to go with Branded Fusion. Alright, the best interaction of Branded Fusion is this. First, you normal summon Rod. Obviously, Branded Fusion loses to more hand traps. But if your copies of Lebellion or whatnot does get hit, you know, you can still play somewhat. It is a little bit better for that. Well, Ref loses the 1 hand trap, and if you get your Dragoon out, you accomplished the same purpose as Branded Fusion, which is obviously summoning your copy of Dragoon. So, use Souls, send DM to grave, send Souls, summon Dark Magician, activate Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion will now summon your copy of Albion by sending your copies of Dark Magician Girl and Albaz the Grave. Summon your copy of Albion. Albion will now activate, fusing your copy of Souls and your copy of Albaz by summoning Lebellion. Lebellion will now activate, fusing in himself with a discard, which is why we have Soul Servant, and the banished copy of Albaz back to the extra deck. Where is it? The top deck. Summon your copy of Mirjade. Now you activate your copy of Secrets of Dark Magic, fusing Dark Magician and your copy of Albion to summon Dragoon. Now in end phase, you can now banish Soul Servant and get yourself a draw 2 because Mana and DM are in the graveyard, which gives you a Dragoon negate, and you obviously still have your Mirror targeting Banish and Albion from the extra deck, and get you Branded Fusion next turn. That is the best interaction with Branded Fusion that I am aware of. But anyway, let me know your opinions on if you prefer to play Branded Fusion or Ref. For me, it honestly just depends on the build. Right now, if we're playing Dragoon Turbo, I prefer Branded Fusion. But if I'm playing Invoked or the Mystic Mind build, obviously Ref is better. But anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and peace.